So now that we can finally talk about the OnePlus Nord in detail, the very first thing that I wanted to do was actually a Mr. Phone style camera comparison. So we had a lot of back and forth between the team to figure out which phones should we actually compare the OnePlus Nord to, and then we finally settled on the OnePlus 8 Pro and the OnePlus 8. Now these are the three phones that OnePlus has launched in 2020. Of these three, the OnePlus Nord is the most affordable one. The second most affordable one is the OnePlus 8, and the OnePlus 8 Pro is of course the most expensive flagship out there. Now the idea out here is not to find out if the OnePlus Nord can actually win against these two, but to actually figure out what kind of compromises OnePlus has made to camera performance, if any. But before we move on, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever Mr. Phone puts out an awesome new tech video. Also, we're building communities over at Telegram and Instagram, links to which should be in the description below. Now, I would also like to thank the cool folks over at Glazeding who've sponsored this video. Glazeding actually makes excellent tempered glasses for smartphones, of course, and they make 2.5D curved tempered glasses. Now, Glazeding is already making a tempered glass for the OnePlus Nord, the OnePlus 8, and the OnePlus 8 Pro. And you should find a tempered glass for most of the phones out there. So definitely go and check out their website, because their quality of tempered glasses are much better than the ones that you pick up from the roadside. And links to their website should be in the description below. Of course, since you are a Mr. Phone viewer, you also get a special discount code which should be flashing on your screen right now. On your screen right now are the camera specs of the three phones. All the three come with a 48 megapixel primary camera setup on the rear, but the Nord and the 8 come with a Sony IMX586 sensor, whereas the 8 Pro goes for a Sony IMX689 custom sensor. The difference is that it has a larger pixel size of 1.12 microns compared to the 0.8 micron pixel size of the IMX586. The rest of the camera details are there for you to see on the screen. I'm not going in detail. What's important is how these cameras perform, and I'm going to bring up the specs along the way anyway, so let's just jump to that. Okay, so here are the three daylight samples from the same phone. I know that if you don't pixel peep here, no one will find the difference, but that's not the point. We are actually here to take a look at the details at 100% crop to see how the sensors perform along with the algorithm. When you pixel peep is when you realize the IMX689 on the 8 Pro is sharper than the IMX586 on the other two phones. Zooming into the center of the image and closing in on the trees on the other side of the road, you can see that the 8 Pro has sharper lines and a cleaner definition of the leaves. And if you move to the right to the BPTP signboard, you will notice once again that the 8 Pro is sharper. Finally, moving to the top left corner, you see the same trend. The OnePlus 8 Pro is better. Now, between the OnePlus Nord and the OnePlus 8, the detail retention is almost on par. In certain areas, the Nord is sharper and the 8 is sharper in other areas. Essentially, OnePlus's promise that Nord has the same flagship grade cameras as the OnePlus 8 is not entirely wrong. Similarly, the 48 megapixel high-res sample is also sharper on the 8 Pro. Just take a look at the close crop. I would definitely not use the OnePlus 8 or the Nord to shoot high-res pictures and stick to pixel binning instead. Now, the ultra-wide-angle camera on all the three phones have vastly different sensors. The OnePlus 8 Pro has a very high-resolution 48 megapixel sensor, whereas the OnePlus 8 uses a 16 megapixel unit. The Nord has an even lower resolution 48 MP ultra-wide-angle camera, and therefore the color processing is so different it is almost jarring. To think these pictures came from phones by the same manufacturer is baffling, really. Anyway, the 8 Pro has clearly oversaturated the picture. The other two look drastically different too, with the Nord going for a more contrasty look and the 8 keeping things simple. By the way, the Nord has a slightly wider field of view of 119 degrees compared to the 116 degree lens on the 8 and the 8 Pro. But when it comes to sharpness at close crop, the 8 Pro's 12 megapixel pixel bin sample from its 48 megapixel sensor definitely takes the top spot. You can take a look at the trees on the other side of the road for proof, but I'm not a fan of the 8 Pro's color science. It clearly looks unnatural. Obviously, the Nord takes a hit when it comes to the ultra-wide-angle camera. It takes good-looking pictures, but it is not a very powerful camera, and that will also affect its low-light performance, which you will see later in the video. Keep watching. Moving on to the dynamic range performance, I'm really surprised at how OnePlus's engineers have managed to preserve the highlights and the shadows on the Nord. Yes, It is almost as good as the OnePlus 8 and the 8 Pro, and that's saying a lot considering the Nord has an inferior ISP on the Snapdragon 765G. Yes, the 8 Pro retrieves more details from the shadows if you look at the pot in the corner, but it is not a whole lot better that any normal user would care. For what it is worth, the Nord does a fantastic job here. In fact, all the three phones are pretty good. I really have no complaints. Now, the one problem with the 8 Pro's big sensor is when it is paired to a fixed wide aperture lens, the depth of field gets extremely shallow in extreme close-ups. Anyway, I managed to find the right distance from the subject to ensure that I don't end up blurring a part of it. And the result is of course excellent. The colors are extremely accurate on the 8 Pro, except for the warmer color temperature, which of course can be fixed in post. Now the OnePlus 8 and the Nord have made the orange thread actually look red. The OnePlus 8 also has a very cool temperature, therefore the blues are heightened. As for the details, the 8 Pro has retained the finer details well, much better than the other two. Between the 8 and the Nord, you can't really pick a winner. The algorithm produces very similar results. Moving to macros, the OnePlus 8 Pro uses the ultra wide angle camera and it chews up and spits out the shitty 2 megapixel macro sensors on the OnePlus Nord and the OnePlus 8. Dear OnePlus, there is no point padding a spec sheet with these abysmal 2 megapixel macro sensors. Please drop it, no one will ever use them. The more expensive OnePlus 8 Pro benefits from its 3x optical zoom camera. Agreed, it is no periscope lens, but you can see it helps getting close to a subject and keeps the details fairly intact too. Obviously, the 2x digital zoom on the Nord and the OnePlus 8 don't cut it. Moving on to portraits, all the three phones default to a zoomed in setting to capture the subject. The OnePlus 8 Pro does 3x, whereas 8 and the Nord do 2x. Now what I noticed firstly is color processing is completely different in the 1x and 2x samples on the OnePlus Nord. There's a desperate need for a software fix. In fact, OnePlus has already rolled out a couple of updates for the Nord, but nothing to fix this problem. Anyway, what I like about the Nord is it tries to match the color processing of the OnePlus 8 Pro. The OnePlus 8 tends to pick up the reds on the face. As for the edge detection and semantic segmentation, there's not much to separate the three. As a matter of fact, all the three struggle with accurately blurring out the leaves that peep through the gap between the left hand and the hip. In the 1x samples, I like both the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Nord's portraits, but the Nord does make mistakes with the far depth of field. For example, the wire on the back is not entirely blurred out. Anyway, for portraits, the Nord is not too bad provided the devs can fix the color processing inconsistencies and of course, the fake blur issue in the background. Now, I actually expected the 32 megapixel Sony IMX616 front-facing camera on the Nord to take pixel bin selfies, but it doesn't. You get a full 32 megapixel picture and you can see here that it has a wider lens attached. The facial tones are not too different on the three and the algorithm works similarly. So the advantage for the Nord here is that it offers more pixels to play with. The other obvious advantage for the Nord is the 8 megapixel ultra wide angle selfie camera with a 105-degree field of view. It lets you fit in a few more people into the frame and the selfie quality is very similar to the main camera, meaning it is not too shabby. To be honest, I would have liked it if OnePlus's algorithm took sharper selfies. The finer details on the face are slightly smoothed out if you ask me. Again, all the selfie portraits here look very similar when it comes to facial tones and details. Also, now you can clearly tell that the Nord has a wider aperture because my face looks slimmer. Anyway, the depth cutout is okay. The algorithm botches up the blur in the same areas on the three phones. For example, take a look at the area where the bed's headrest meets my hair on the left. So yeah, no surprises here. But I did find a couple of things odd with the Nord. Firstly, you don't get portrait mode for the wide angle camera, and secondly, weirdly enough, the portrait mode pictures are actually pixel binned, which is not the case with the regular selfie pictures. I find that odd. Let's move on to the video recording using the three cameras. Considering the 8 Pro is the top-end flagship among the three, you get to shoot HDR video with it. And the dynamic range improvements on the HDR video is drastic. The algorithm retrieves a lot of details from the shadows. Note that you can shoot HDR video only in 4K 30 FPS. But the only one disadvantage on the Nord is that it can't shoot 4K 60 FPS videos, but the 8 and the 8 Pro can. Now both the phones which are shooting 4K 60 FPS here, which is 8 and the 8 Pro, are near identical in terms of details, dynamic range performance and colors. You also get gyro-based EIS for video stabilization. Heck, even the voice recording quality is very similar. So of the three phones, the OnePlus Nord cannot actually shoot in 4K 60 FPS, but the OnePlus 8 and the 8 Pro can, which is what I'm doing right now and showing you guys what the footage quality looks like, how's the stabilization, and Of course, what's the sound recording like, which we'll also test in the 4K 30 FPS footage. And now you can take a look at the dynamic range performance at 4K 60 FPS. Despite the fact that OnePlus 8 Pro has Nokia's Ozo audio, so I didn't see any specific particular difference as such. However, I did notice a pinkish tone on the 8 Pro's footage when the camera is shooting against the light. Now we have the 4K 30 FPS video, and the Nord is clearly doing a great job here. When it comes to colors, details, sound recording and stabilization, there is literally no difference between the three phones. The obvious advantage for the OnePlus 8 Pro here is the dynamic range improvement that it brings to the table. So if you're shooting video in tough lighting scenarios, for example directly into the sun, the OnePlus 8 Pro will do a better job. But the Nord matches the OnePlus 8 in video recording quality. The three phones can also shoot 4K 30 FPS videos using the ultra wide angle camera, and evidently the Nord cannot suppress the noise in the darker portions of the footage. You can see that very clearly here. Also, the picture quality takes a hit as a result. The 8 Pro and the 8 are almost on par in terms of details. Also, the three phones offer very similar levels of stabilization too. Although I did notice the same pink tint problem in the 8 Pro's ultra wide angle footage. While the Nord might not have all the shooting options that you get with the 8 and the 8 Pro, it more than makes up for it by going berserk with the front camera. Apparently, OnePlus had a focus group research which revealed that users in this price bracket want a phone with good video recording abilities using the front camera. Is that true? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, you get the option to shoot at 4K 60 FPS when the 8 and the 8 Pro top out at 1080p 30 FPS. Isn't that just crazy? While you don't get any stabilization in the 4K 60 FPS footage on the OnePlus Nord, it looks crisp and clean. Heck, you can even shoot 4K 30 FPS videos using the ultra wide angle front camera, which is not available on the 8 and the 8 Pro. You'll have to live with the excessive noise even in daylight recording. Now both the videos tend to expose the face and blow out the background while shooting against the light, but I guess that will be fine for most folks. Now when you see the 4K 30 FPS footage from the Nord compared to the 1080p 30 FPS ones by the 8 and the 8 Pro, you will notice that the crop is a little too tight on the 8 and the 8 Pro. This is due to EIS on the front camera. In fact, even the Nord has gyro-based EIS on the front camera. But since you get more of the frame, the crop factor is not much, considering you have a 4K video to play with, making it much more suitable for shooting vlogs with your hands stretched out. Also, the colors and dynamic range are very similar on the two, but you just get so much more details from the Nord just because you have so much more resolution to play with. So when it comes to video recording using the selfie camera, I'll go for the Nord, no doubt. While the OnePlus Nord can do 1080p slow motion videos at 240 FPS max, the 8 and the 8 Pro of course can do 480 FPS at 720p as well. But I found that the 8 struggled in locking focus and the color reproduction was not as good either. I'd take the OnePlus Nord's 1080p 240 FPS slow motion video over the 8's attempts. Moving on to slightly more trying situations, in indoor lighting conditions, the 8 Pro's dynamic range prowess come to the fore immediately. Just take a look at the tube light and you'll notice that the glare is so well controlled. Plus it has a brighter exposure overall without looking bad. As far as the colors are concerned, all the three are similar, but the processing of details is very different on all three. Let's move our gaze to the chair at the bottom left corner to see for ourselves. The Nord does aggressive noise correction and ends up softening the details a fair bit. The OnePlus 8 keeps the details, but there's noise. The 8 Pro of course does the best job here. Moving on to selfies taken indoors, the Nord has the most accurate facial tones, if a little dull, but the selfie looks super flat as well. I mean, the algorithm has smoothened out, the oiliness of my face. For the first time, I'm actually craving for oiliness on my face. I really like the OnePlus 8 and the 8 Pro selfies, which are undoubtedly more detailed. Finally, we are here, the low light section. When you look at the low light samples without night mode, you can immediately tell the Nord has very soft details compared to the 8 and the 8 Pro. With night mode on, the Nord picks up the performance quite a bit. You get crisp details and it is on par with the OnePlus 8. The 8 Pro is obviously the sharpest of the lot. I like how the nightscape mode makes the Nord's images far more usable. Moving on to even more trying conditions with very little light indoors, you can see that the Nord captures soft and underexposed pictures compared to the OnePlus 8 Pro. It is much noisier than the OnePlus 8's sample. But when you switch on nightscape, something completely weird happens. The Nord's algorithm brightens up the image to an extent that it looks like someone switched on the flash. And I took at least 5 pictures to confirm if I wasn't doing anything wrong. Also, what's up with the OnePlus 8 here? It ends up underexposing the image, and the OnePlus 8 Pro's color temperature meter has dialed up the purple. So odd. If you were looking just at the exposures and color temperatures, the Nord would be everyone's pick, right? But since that can be fixed in post, what matters is the details at close crop. And let's take a look at the every little thing's gonna be alright wall hanging. And well, the Nord paints over the details with the expertise of a 4-year-old kid. No, really, it looks smudged and bad. The 8 Pro retrieves far more natural details in comparison. The 8, well, less said about it, the better. It looks so odd. What is happening here? Now you can also shoot nightscape shots using the ultra wide angle camera, but the 8 Pro and the 8 are better than the Nord here, as you can tell. Obviously the 8 Pro is better at low light photography overall, but it is also the most expensive phone on the list. The OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus Nord are almost on par if you ask me, and that really doesn't bode well for the OnePlus 8. Now all the 3 phones have a dual LED flash and the throw is equally good on all the 3, but the OnePlus 8 has the best color temperature here overall. Now when it comes to low light selfies, the 8 Pro takes the lead. The Nord tends to smooth out the details a lot. With flash on, the 8 Pro and the 8 are better at exposing the face properly compared to the Nord. So when I started testing the OnePlus Nord's cameras, I went in with really low expectations and thankfully it managed to surprise me. Obviously it's not better than the 8 Pro because the 8 Pro is better than the OnePlus Nord in many scenarios. Having said that, when it comes to videos using the selfie camera, the OnePlus Nord is actually better than the 8 Pro. In fact, compared to the OnePlus 8, the OnePlus Nord is absolutely no slouch. The camera performance is decent, but I am pretty sure that it is at least 2 updates away from realizing the full potential of the hardware stack inside it. In case if you're not willing to wait, you can actually just get a Gcam mod or something. Now, if you have to summarize the camera performance of the OnePlus Nord, the rear camera performance, in my opinion, was actually pretty good in daylight shots, and the dynamic range performance also was really good. Now, in low light, of course, the OnePlus Nord is not that great, but with Nightscape, you can get some brighter images if that works for you. But the icing on the cake is obviously the video recording chops of the OnePlus Nord. So if you are a budding YouTuber or a vlogger, then I think that the OnePlus Nord should be on your list because it's not that expensive either. Now, I have a few suggestions for the camera engineers who are tuning the camera algorithm of the OnePlus Nord. Firstly, fix that inconsistency in color when you're shooting in portrait 1x and portrait 2x mode. Secondly, give us the option to shoot selfies in pixel bin resolution, for example, that the way that you do it in portrait mode, because at least it could be sharper. And thirdly, fix the selfie performance in low light and indoors. And finally, you guys have a 5MP depth sensor, at least get better for depth in the rear. Now, the Nord definitely doesn't have the best camera algorithm out there, like I mentioned before, but it doesn't take too bad pictures either. And what I'm more worried about is the OnePlus 8, which is a far more expensive smartphone, and the camera performance is maybe very similar to the OnePlus Nord, sometimes better, but in many scenarios, the OnePlus Nord is actually better. Now, the OnePlus 8 is a more expensive smartphone, so that's not boding well for OnePlus. Well, what do you guys think of the camera performance of the OnePlus Nord? Do let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Ashar from Mr. Phone signing off. Goodbye and Godspeed, my friends.